So let's think about why learn to write when there's AI. We know some of the most obvious answers, of course, and especially if you're an international student, if you're going to college, university, you need to write papers, or you're in business and you need to communicate with leaders at a top level or create reports and make them interesting and convince people of ideas and send messages. Write reports, emails. Yes, AI can help you with some of that. It's there, it's a tool, and it can be pretty helpful. However, and this is the main issue or the core idea of why writing is important, is you have a brain and you need to use it. So writing is a way of using your brain to organize your thoughts in a cohesive way so you can communicate with yourself and with the world in a better, clearer, more confident way. If we allow others to think for us, we lose our thinking skills. And we don't want that, right? We want to strengthen our thinking skills. And writing is a good way to do that. And you're forced to do that when you're writing academic papers. Again, we can use these tools, but we have to be the ones controlling them. We have to be the ones strengthening our thinking capacities now more than ever. And this is crucial in a time where it seems like we're handing over many of our skills, our manual skills. We're not learning how to do things with our hands anymore. And our thinking skills, we're allowing machines to do much of the work because it's convenient, it saves time. Right now is the time to take back some of that and learn how to develop the basic skills we have been given the opportunity to learn and that we have the privilege to use. We can use our hands to do things. We can learn to make things. We can use our full body. We can run. We can do so many things with our body, and we can use our brains to think for ourselves, not just to think what the outside world is trying to tell us, but to really decipher, organize, and understand what is happening and how we can translate that into our own system and our own ways of communicating. So this is all to say why it's important to learn how to write. I used to struggle, and sometimes still do, with chaotic thinking, with chaotic expression. I wanted to say something. I couldn't say it the way I wanted to say it. And it took me going through university, learning to write papers. It was very difficult for me. But I had to do it. And then I became a translator. And boy, that was a big education for me. So I had to learn how to write or understand good writing and why there's rules. And I remember a teacher in university saying, you need to know the rules in order to break them. And that stuck with me, and I truly believe that now. I do believe we can break rules. We do it all the time, speaking, writing. But what rules are we breaking, and why are they important in the first place? So writing well, or learning to write well, helps you to think as well. And that's it. If you feel like your mind is all over the place, if you feel there is so much noise and you sit down and write, you can organize those thoughts. You can release a lot of that noise and disruption simply by putting it on paper. Now here, we're taking it a step further. We're using writing to develop ourselves professionally and academically. That's what we're going to do here in Jackie's Homeroom. But I want you to see that there are many benefits aside from that. I want you to see how important it is to learn to organize your thoughts and how important it is to learn to express yourself so that more people can understand you and you can share your message clearer with more confidence and in a way that's more truthful to what you want to say. If you think about it, if each of us stayed in our own little bubble with our chaotic thoughts and tried to express ourselves, without structure, we would kind of get what's happening in the world right now. A lot of polarity and a lot of gaslighting. And I know this isn't an necessarily academic term, but we're getting gaslit because we're just getting so much noise, and that is not congruent. So when we learn to write and we learn to think and we learn to decipher and we learn to express ourselves on paper and verbally with certain rules and recommendations as a framework that, yes, we can later break creatively, well, this matters. And it matters very much in these times. We need to learn frameworks. I believe we need to learn these frameworks so we can communicate, and especially academically in business, with other specialists in our fields. There are areas we can become more creative, but in certain scientific fields, we need that structure so that we can communicate with each other. Now, before we do that, let's learn what those rules, or before we get creative, let's learn what those rules and guidelines are. And let's learn how to create a framework, a messaging in a framework so we can communicate clearly, get our message across to as many people as possible. I'm here with you. I love to question the rules. A lot of what I bring to you here, however, comes from my work as a translator and from seeing firsthand what works and what doesn't. Why don't we want seemingly unending sentences, especially in English? So I'm speaking from the perspective of English, of course, because that's what I'm used to working with. I've been an English teacher, and I was a translator from Spanish to English. So that's where most of my experience comes from. And from reading lots of texts that didn't make sense. They were very repetitive, or they clearly showed that the mind behind them wasn't fully clear on what it was trying to say. And that's a shame, because often they're brilliant ideas. So during the translation process, I would help reshape those texts into a more cohesive, logical sequence of ideas and messaging. What I'm going to be sharing with you here comes from having lived different forms of writing and communication. Now, I'm not perfect either. Nobody is. That's what makes it so interesting. And that's why the guidelines and rules help us. I will make mistakes, and I'm sure you'll tell me. But I do want to share what I've learned, why it's important, and help you along the way, because it doesn't have to be so hard. It doesn't have to be so complicated. We're just getting started. I've only uploaded a couple of videos and so far, but many more are coming. And I'm going to revisit the information that helped me, and I'm doing it with you. And we're going to the basics. We're starting with sentences and sentence structure. So if you have any questions about the writing process at this level right now, go ahead and send them to me, or put them in the DM me for academic and business writing. Please share those questions you have, or what have you seen, and why do you have that question? Because your experience is valuable and important, even if English is not your first language, and maybe because of it, because you can see the language in a different way. So in my next video, I'm going to explore the subject in a sentence. Okay, I hope you join me. Bye for now. See you next time.